I am stupid good at the game.
A couple of friends were in the middle of recording an episode for their YouTube podcast when something unexpected cut right through their conversation. The noise that came through was completely out of place. Nothing about it made sense in that setting. Both of them froze, visibly thrown off. They went through their gear trying to find an explanation, but everything checked out fine. The space around them was completely clear. That sound had seemingly come from nowhere. Sure, there's a chance it was just some random interference their microphone happened to catch, but moments like that have a way of getting under your skin and making you question things. Honestly, I can't explain it, and it genuinely creeped me out. What follows comes from a mother who has been documenting every chapter of her daughter's life. Her entire social media presence revolves around her only child, a little girl she never thought she'd have after going through several heartbreaking pregnancy losses. To Gabby, her daughter Regina was nothing short of a miracle. So naturally, from her first moments as a newborn to the milestone of her first school day, Gabby has made sure to capture it all. But among everything posted on her page, a handful of videos have left viewers genuinely unsettled. It began with a series of clips Gabby recorded when Regina was still an infant. Back then, she had a habit of crawling over to a particular hallway in the house and fixating on it. That alone might not raise any eyebrows, except that this behavior never stopped. Even now, years later, Regina still gravitates toward that same hallway and stares into it for no obvious reason.
Vámonos ya. Vente, mi amor.
Whether she's playing a solo game of tag or blowing kisses in that direction, Regina carries on as though there's someone right there with her. The obvious conclusion would be an imaginary friend. Gabby, however, isn't so sure, especially after what her camera picked up not long ago.
Ay, Dios, ahora sí me asusté. ¿Qué pasó? Ay, Raichi. Mira, apunta para allá. ¿Qué, mi amor? Vámonos. ¿Qué, mi amor? ¿Qué hay? ¿Qué pasó? Ven, amor. Ven, amorcito, vente.
Something has shifted in how Regina reacts to the hallway. Gabby's more recent footage shows her daughter visibly disturbed by it, yet none of the videos seem to offer any clear explanation, at least not one Gabby could spot on her own. It wasn't until viewers started flooding the comments on a particular clip she'd casually recorded one evening that things took a darker turn. The video was just a short snippet of Regina going through her bedtime routine, but commenters pointed out that if you look carefully, you can actually see what's been frightening her. Judge for yourself what she managed to record. What started as a lighthearted little moment quickly becomes something deeply unsettling. Inside a closet, a dark, shadowy shape darts past, and it happens at the exact moment Regina points toward it. Nobody else was in the home that night, which would have been the simple explanation. After going through the comments, Gabby inspects the closet and finds it completely empty. So if there was nothing there, what exactly was that? Viewers think they might have the answer. Many believe this shadow could be the very thing that has been terrifying Regina all along. She even pointed at it the same way she always does with the hallway. Gabby isn't sure what to make of it, but the worry hasn't left her. Then, on a separate night, while filming her daughter in the kitchen, she captures something that sends a chill through her. Take a look at what unfolds. Much like before, a shadow moves through the frame. Only this time it passes through the same room as both Gabby and Regina. The figure glides from one end to the other before vanishing entirely. With no one else reportedly in the house, there's no easy way to account for it. What makes it even stranger is that neither Gabby nor her daughter seem to notice it happening in real time. With everything piling up, the central question becomes impossible to ignore. Just what has been showing up in these recordings? Gabby still doesn't have an answer, but she's keeping a close eye on anything unusual her camera might catch going forward. For now, she remains completely in the dark about both the shadowy presence and why her daughter has grown so afraid of that hallway. In 2014, 4 children vanished somewhere in New York State after wandering into a drainage tunnel. What I'm about to play for you is recovered footage pulled from a camera that maintenance workers stumbled upon during routine repairs in the area. Alongside the camera, they found a collection of personal belongings thought to have been left behind by the missing kids: a pair of broken glasses, a blue denim jacket, candy wrappers, and other items. In the recording, unsettling sounds reverberate through the tunnel walls. At one point, one of the children can be heard saying, "They don't know where they are." Then, without warning, the whole group reacts to something. Whether they spot it or hear it, we can't say, but they bolt in absolute terror, abandoning the camera where it sat.
Was it this dark during the day? No. You can see the end in the day. Sketchy. Flashlight sucks. Dude, we can seriously travel. Guys, we're entering a neighborhood with people's backyards. Guys, look. What the frick? 666. Dude, these are pictures of people. What? You see that? Guys, there isn't light in either car. Guys, I think we're lost. Oh, I see. Do you think we're lost? No. Okay. Did you hear that? No. What did you hear?
To this day, nobody knows what frightened them so severely. My best guess is that after spending so long in total darkness, their minds started working against them, making them see things that weren't really there. What gives this whole thing an extra layer of dread is that based on the visible jump cuts in the footage, those kids had already been down there for at least half an hour. We have no idea how far they traveled or what they went through, but the thought alone of 4 children trapped underground, disoriented, hungry, and terrified, is enough to make my skin crawl. Nobody deserves to go through something like that. May 3rd, 2025. For Chico and his wife, van life had long since become their normal. They'd clocked months on the road together, drifting through forests, deserts, and everything the open country had to offer. That particular week, they stumbled onto what felt like an ideal spot, a quiet stretch of woodland with nobody else around.
Boondocking in the forest. And I've told people that.
But peace like that never holds. After heading into town for supplies, they came back to find a stranger had set up camp roughly 40 yards behind them. The guy had a tidy rig and gave off no obvious red flags. Chico didn't think twice about it. Then, as the light faded, the man just stood there, completely still, staring in their direction.
This guy had a nice rig and a nice setup, so I wasn't too concerned about.
The couple tried to shake the feeling. Maybe he's just nosy, Chico told himself, but something in his gut wasn't buying it. When the weekend crowd started rolling in, they decided to relocate somewhere more low-key, only to cross paths with the exact same man. This time he was shirtless, wandering around in bikini bottoms, his gaze fixed squarely on them.
We had to move. So we moved to this spot we're at now, and it ran us right into the guy that was stalking us in his bikini bottoms. So one demon chased us.
They moved again. The following morning, while they were outside with their coffee, a furious voice tore through the tree line. That same man, screaming, swearing, completely unprovoked and unhinged. Chico and his wife went rigid, not knowing whether he was carrying a weapon. The shouting kept coming, sometimes incoherent, but the threat behind it was unmistakable.
Coffee this morning, and that new neighbor that pulled up did this.
They didn't stick around to find out what came next. They packed up without a word and pulled out. That encounter made them question everything they'd built. It wasn't wildlife or rough conditions that shook their faith in the lifestyle. It was another person. This next clip is taken from a German historical documentary and depicts a concealed darkness that emerged during the war in 1942, a supernatural evil so profound that every person who crossed its path was permanently haunted by the encounter.
Wer sind die Männer in diesem Film?
The soldiers had received word of a creature lurking deep within the forest, one that only surfaced beneath the moonlight and consumed anyone bold enough to challenge it. Their only option was to confront it during daylight hours and bring down the legendary Werewolf.
Erheblichen Überreste des Remus-Skelettes, die immer noch im Berliner Museum für Naturkunde ausgestellt.
They moved in, tracked the beast down, and opened fire. But killing it was just the start of a far greater nightmare, because every soldier who laid eyes on this creature would be tormented by what they saw for the remainder of their days.
Remus-Monster, Deutschland, aus den manipulierten Knochen eines Wolfes.
It took place on a calm afternoon along the coast of Kent, England, where one daredevil came within a hair's breadth of death. He had made his way to St. Margaret's at Cliff, a dramatic coastal cliff rising high above the water, famous for its sheer drop and stunning panoramas. But sightseeing was the last thing on his mind. He was there to base jump. For anyone who isn't familiar, base jumping ranks among the most extreme and perilous sports on the planet. The premise is simple but terrifying. You leap from a fixed structure, a cliff face, a skyscraper, and rely on a parachute to keep you alive. The margins are razor thin, the adrenaline is immense, and on this particular day, it all nearly went catastrophically wrong. The jumper, whose name has never been officially disclosed, stood at the cliff's edge, composed and locked in, but he had badly miscalculated the risk, and then he went over.
See you later, guys. One more look.
For a moment, everything seemed fine, until the screaming began. Pure panic flooded his voice within seconds of leaving the edge. The descent was far longer than he had expected, and the parachute was agonizingly slow to deploy. By the time it finally opened, he had almost run out of sky. The impact with the ground was devastating. His pelvis was completely shattered. 4 of his thoracic vertebrae were fractured, and yet somehow, he was still breathing. A Coast Guard officer who had been watching nearby immediately radioed for emergency assistance. He was airlifted to a London hospital, where doctors confirmed the full severity of his injuries and said he'd need a minimum of 3 months to recover. It was nothing short of a miracle, because if that parachute had taken even 1 more second to open, there would be no story left to tell. Our next story comes from a mother who uploaded footage her sister had captured while watching over her young son. At the time, everything seemed completely normal. The babysitter was recording the boy to keep his mom in the loop, showing him sitting quietly in front of SpongeBob.
SpongeBob night.
SpongeBob's off.
Liam, come here. Liam, right now. What is happening? Okay, I'm calling your mom. Just stay right here.
Once the video went public, the mother says she got an unexpected message from a former owner of the home, a family who had held the property across multiple generations.
Hey guys, it's Sydney and Liam here. You all probably remember Liam. He witnessed the rocking chair thing. That was crazy. Anyway, just wanted to tell you guys, like, I'm not here to convince anybody to believe in it. That's totally fine if you don't. I appreciate your opinion.
Yeah, she is.
She wants to talk too. But I did want to show you guys something that was sent to me a few days after I posted the original video. This was sent to me from the old owners of this house, their granddaughter. So before my family and I moved in, which was 2.5 years ago, before we moved in here, this house was actually owned by the same family ever since it was built, and it was built in 1924. So, like I said, I will leave you with this message. And
According to that message, years prior, when a man named Brad, the owner's brother, was living there, a house cleaner had been working upstairs in the north bedroom, a room that had originally belonged to their grandmother. While she was vacuuming, she claimed the power cord kept getting forcefully yanked from the outlet. Then, out of nowhere, a desk lamp rose off the surface, flipped itself upside down, and touched down without shattering. She also described a sudden and overwhelming odor that flooded the room. When Brad returned home, he discovered a note waiting for him. The cleaner had walked off the job, leaving behind a message saying something in that house didn't want her around. Within days, the family says things got worse. The staircase is completely empty, yet objects are being hurled with real force, one right after another, while the children nearby have no idea what's unfolding just behind them. Shortly after that, another security camera picks up activity in the kitchen. Cabinet doors begin violently swinging open in sequence, as though an unseen presence is standing there, wrenching each one. Seconds later, the house alarm triggers on its own for no apparent reason. After that point, the account goes dark. No follow-up posts, no clarifications, no word on what came next. Taken one at a time, any single clip could be explained away. A chair shifts, an old house settles, a camera angle deceives. But when you line up the babysitter's recording, the family's security footage, and a story that was being told long before anyone had a social media account, the whole picture gets a lot harder to dismiss. If something genuinely was present in that home, it didn't just announce itself quietly. It built, it intensified, and then it vanished. The real question is, why? A young woman hears an unusual sound somewhere in her home and figures there might be somebody lurking beyond her gate. So she heads outside and flicks on the exterior light to investigate. What she has no idea about is that something odd is already creeping around near that gate. The moment the light switches on and she moves toward it, a small dark figure suddenly shoots across the far side of the gate. The shape is deeply unsettling. It doesn't move the way a person would, and it bears no resemblance to any animal anyone could identify. It's just something that defies explanation. She doesn't catch the shadow in that instant, but once she finally makes it to the gate, she abruptly notices a figure standing on the other side. Then, right as she moves in for a closer look, it simply evaporates into thin air like a wisp of smoke. Shaken to her core, she sprints straight back inside. Afterward, the caption on the video notes that she never spotted the dark shape earlier, which is why the whole experience left her so confused. She does mention, however, that when she looked at whatever was standing by the gate, it didn't appear to be anything resembling a normal person. Before her mind could even begin to process it, the thing was gone. Watching the footage closely, it's hard not to wonder whether that fleeting shadow and the figure at the gate were somehow one and the same. The thought that a solid form could dissolve into nothing while a strange creature lurks nearby makes for a deeply chilling puzzle. Plenty of people in the comments are convinced this footage captured something that belongs firmly in the paranormal. Chase Beckstead and his wife Rachel had been spending time at the home of Rachel's late grandfather, who had passed away just a month before. Late one night, as the couple was winding down and getting ready to sleep, something deeply unsettling unfolded.
How are you doing? You okay?
I don't know.
So, we were just going to bed and we're not... Let me just show you. Like, we've literally had to put the bag up against the door because we're not sure. And like, we're literally just...
Without any warning, the bedroom door began violently rattling on its own. No one was on the other side, and there wasn't a single draft in the room that could explain it. The experience left both Chase and Rachel shaken to their core, and they made the call to pack up and head back to their own place. But just as they were gathering their things, something even more alarming happened. See for yourself.
Okay, so we're leaving. We got all of our stuff packed. Oh. What? Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, we're out of here. I'm leaving, like, I don't know.
While Chase was in the middle of preparing to go, the door suddenly slammed shut by itself and launched into another relentless bout of rattling, this time far more intense and aggressive than before. Not willing to spend another second in that house, he grabbed what he could and got out immediately. Some viewers who've seen the footage believe it's the spirit of Rachel's grandfather, still tethered to the home he once lived in. Others are convinced something far more sinister has taken up residence there, drawn in by the fact that the property had been sitting empty for a while. As for Chase and Rachel themselves, they remain completely at a loss for what caused any of it. The TikTok page you're looking at belongs to a creator named Rachel. Her channel is mostly dedicated to hiking adventures, time spent outdoors, and the occasional appearance from her dog. Nothing even remotely supernatural. That is, until she posted a clip that spread across the internet almost overnight. While out on a trail with a group of friends, they came across an old rusted metal hatch buried in the ground. Curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to pull it open. And here's where things get interesting.
Watch there be nothing. Oh, it's a door within a door. Pull it, pull it. Scarier. Pull it. Is that glass?
It's plexiglass. I fucking heard noises, dude.
Dude, fucking do it.
Ugh. Do you hear it echoing?
We have to do it now.
Holy shit.
Are you?
This is insane.
Oh.
There's a flashlight in my backpack. Go get the flashlight. It's in the top.
What the fuck?
It's a shitty flashlight, but oh, it doesn't make any difference. This is so deep.
Bro, but you can see it, like, there. Hold on.
There's a ladder.
No.
Yeah. I'm not going down the
No,
ladder.
absolutely not.
And this flashlight is doing shit.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
We need a rock.
Yeah, hold on. Find a rock.
Big one, too.
Okay.
Holy shit. I think we're gonna get haunted now.
Okay, yeah.
Their initial reaction was to brush it off, figuring it was probably some remnant of an old water system. But a number of viewers pointed out something that's hard to ignore. What appears to be a pale, ghostly face peering up from within the hatch. Some people pushed back, insisting it was simply light bouncing off the wet interior walls. Either way, Rachel never addressed the incident in any follow-up content, and the whole thing remains unexplained to this day. So where do you stand on this one? Genuine paranormal encounter, or just your brain playing tricks and seeing a face where there isn't one? Drop your take in the comments below. Meet John, a guy who had just moved into a new house with a pretty solid setup and his dog by his side. Once everything was settled and unpacked, he was finally ready to unwind and enjoy having a space to call his own. But something about that house never quite felt right, almost like an unseen presence had crept in through the walls. John started picking up on strange sounds echoing through the rooms, and his dog would constantly freeze in place, eyes locked on something, except there was never anything there. When the activity started ramping up, he pulled out his phone and hit record, and what unfolded next is something else entirely.
Jackson is like laser ass focused on this right now. He won't, like, you alright? Mm-hmm. I know. I think something's wrong. I don't know. I hear noises, but I'm not even sure. Are you f***ing kidding me right now? There is no way that just happened. There is no way that just happened. There is no way. What's wrong with you? What's wrong? Jackson. Jackson. What's wrong? There's banging and stuff.
His dog had its gaze fixed dead on the closet, like something, or someone, was standing just inside it. John leaned in, curious, when out of nowhere an object on the shelf launched itself out of frame. The sudden movement caught him completely off guard, and his dog Jackson glanced back up at him with an expression that said everything. As John kept the camera rolling, Jackson launched into a barking frenzy aimed straight at the shadows inside that closet. And then, without any explanation, the door began to slowly swing shut all on its own. John was frozen in disbelief, unable to make any sense of what he'd just witnessed. He eventually made his way downstairs, but the whole experience had already gotten under his skin, and it wasn't long before John quietly packed up and moved out for good. In Argentina, a stadium that serves as the home ground of the soccer club Huracan may be harboring something far darker than anyone expected. A security guard working the night shift reported hearing unsettling sounds and watching objects shift on their own with no explanation. On one particular night, a series of heavy banging noises rang out from the locker rooms located beneath the stadium. Armed with nothing but his phone, he pushed through the darkness and captured something that would shake him to his core. Footage he's convinced shows a ghostly figure concealed within the shadows.
Bueno, ya son como las 11 de la noche y la tercera vez que estoy escuchando este ruido de mierda. No sé qué está pasando, pero lo quiero grabar ahora para que después me crea la gente, porque esto nunca me pasó y nada, lo quería grabar. No sé yo, estoy podrido, la concha de la lora. Tengo mi linterna, no sé para qué empieza la clase. Dios, ya es la tercera vez. Tercera vez que entro y no hay nada. Dios, quiero ir. Quiero ir.
The guard appears completely unaware of the dark shape that glides right across his path. Many viewers who have come across this chilling clip believe the figure could be the restless spirit of Renea Hausman, a former Huracan player who passed away tragically just weeks before the recording was made. So where do you stand on this? Is this a genuine haunting, or could the camera simply be playing tricks? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Chase Beckstead and his wife Rachel had decided to spend the night at the home of Rachel's grandfather, who had passed away just a month before. Inside that very house, the lingering weight of that loss made the place feel eerie from the moment they arrived, and as the couple settled in for the night, things took a turn for the unsettling. See for yourself what unfolded.
And like, we're literally just...
With no breeze, no open windows, and no obvious explanation, their bedroom door began swinging back and forth on its own, as though something invisible had taken hold of it. The two of them stood frozen, watching in horror as the dread slowly crept in. They made the call to get out, throwing their things together and heading for the exit. But right as Chase reached for that final bag, the door snapped shut right behind him. Watch what happens next.
Okay, so we're leaving. We got all of our stuff packed. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, we're out of here. Rachel's already in the car. I'm leaving, like, I don't know what's going on.
And then it started again, rattling and shaking with even more intensity than the first time. To this day, Chase has never been able to account for what he witnessed that night, and more than a few people believe the disturbance went beyond anything the house itself could explain. A TikTok creator named Chichla, based in the United States, has built her following through cheerful, everyday vlogs. Her channel is typically a stream of wholesome life updates and good vibes, with zero connection to anything supernatural. But on March 1st, 2026, her usual content took a sharp and deeply unsettling detour. Chichla had been unable to get any rest, haunted by a creeping feeling that something else was in the house with her. She started picking up on unmistakable sounds, slow, heavy footsteps reverberating through the rooms with no clear source. Terrified of what might be lurking, she pulled out her phone and hit record, determined to capture whatever was moving through the darkness. See for yourself what she found.
But I need you guys to see and hear what is going on. I look like shit, sorry, but like what is happening outside my patio door? Okay, hold on.
Once the footage is slowed down, things get even harder to explain. Pay close attention to the shape as it draws near the glass. Some viewers have tried to dismiss it as someone wrapped in a white sheet, but those watching carefully have spotted something that doesn't add up. The figure seems to have no discernible feet or limbs as it glides forward, and the way it vanishes off to the left is disturbingly fluid. There's no thud of footsteps or sound of fabric shifting as it moves away. Chichla maintains she was completely alone that night and has no idea what showed up on her camera. So the question remains, did she just document a genuine brush with something that has no business being in our world? Caught on camera. Back in October 2016, a YouTuber known as TGF Bro headed out with a group of friends to check out a derelict school somewhere in Ireland. Rumors had been circulating that the building was haunted, something the group brushed off without much thought. That skepticism didn't last long, though. The moment they walked through the doors, everything changed.
You know how they're standing up like that?
That's helium.
Yeah. How long does helium last for?
Give it about a week. Five to 7 days.
Should we check it?
Yo! Yeah, I know. You scared me then, you know.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, because I was expecting you to come from behind me and you've walked through there. Bruv, nah, why is there balloons? Hello?
Yo! Hello? My black senses, yeah, off the scale right now, yeah.
Yo, why are we not questioning? We're stood up like 10 feet away from balloons, helium balloons.
That's what I'm saying, why is it there?
Bro, why does this look like Kino de Toe?
Bro!
Hello? What the bro?
Yo, real talk, yeah. Bro, nah, dude, that's something, nah, dude, I promise you, yeah, that's like, gotta be something metal, man. Bro, nah, dude, hold on, dude, nah, bro, for real, yeah, hold on, dude, that was like, something just like clanging against like a wall, bro.
Sounds like brakes though, on like a kid's bike, bro. Do you wanna go in there?
We can't do an explore video and do 5 minutes of footage of that. Bro, I feel uncomfortable, like.
They spotted what looked like balloons scattered throughout the building, which left them puzzled and a little curious about why they were there. But the further they pushed into those empty corridors, the more they wished they hadn't. What they found next was the kind of thing that keeps you staring at the ceiling at 3 in the morning.
Alright, okay, shine the light down there. Shine your light down there and just wait. Yo!
Hear that, dude? Dude, fuck that, dude! There's a fucking gun! There's a fucking gun! Did you? Dude! Sorry,
To this day, nobody knows who it was that drove them out of that building, or what fate may have awaited the woman who later chose to go there entirely on her own. Hospitals are supposed to be places of recovery, but sometimes they harbor something far more unsettling. That's exactly what a night shift employee named Celeste found out while working the late hours at a hospital already notorious among its staff for a deeply uneasy atmosphere. Certain co-workers spoke in hushed tones about shadows drifting through empty corridors. Others swore they heard faint voices whispering their names when nobody was around. Most chalked it up to exhaustion from grueling overnight shifts. Celeste, however, wasn't satisfied with that explanation, so she began filming her rounds in the dead of night, hell-bent on catching whatever was lurking in the hospital's darkest corners.
Hola, yo hoy quiero contar mi experiencia acá en el Hospital Nacional grabando los pasillos. Realmente, aunque no se vio nada paranormal, pero sí que el ambiente estaba muy pesado. Yo ando grabando de noche sola los pasillos, ¿verdad? Pero nunca vi cosas paranormales. Escuché la historia de María Soledad acá en el Hospital Nacional. Me entró la curiosidad y quise grabar, pero no se vio nada. Pero sí, en los primeros días que estuve grabando me dolió mucho la cabeza, como 3 días me estuvo doliendo mucho la cabeza. Pero vamos a...
For a while, night after night, her footage revealed absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Then one evening, everything changed in the most terrifying way. As Celeste moved silently through a deserted corridor, a deeply unsettling growl rang out right beside her phone's microphone. Bizarrely, she hadn't heard a thing in the moment, only noticing it afterward when she played back her recordings. The sound appeared to trail her, intensifying as she went. When she arrived at the elevator bank, the doors began opening and shutting by themselves, as though something invisible was moving alongside her through the vacant building. Celeste became convinced that whatever this was, it seemed to grow stronger the more frightened she became. Several nights afterward, refusing to back down, she made her way up to the top floor, a section of the hospital that staff had long regarded with particular dread. As she ascends the stairwell, a low growl rises around her, shifting into what sounds eerily like a woman humming a melody. And when she finally arrives at a closed door at the top of the stairs, she discovers a pentagram carved directly into it, a deliberate marking that suggests whoever left it behind believed something truly evil resided on the other side. Then, a few nights on, at 3 in the morning, here's what her camera recorded. A sound can be heard, and through the door a dark silhouette is visible. Yet the moment Celeste steps inside, the room is completely empty. After uploading the footage online, viewers were deeply unsettled. Many believe this hospital is home to something wicked, something that never moved on, or perhaps someone who simply refused to leave after death. But what's your take on it? A man who runs a gaming YouTube channel shoots all of his content from his kitchen and goes live on Twitch nearly every single day. But lately, something has shifted inside his home. Strange, unsettling things have begun to occur. On this particular night, he was midstream discussing the disturbing experiences he'd been going through when things suddenly took a terrifying turn.
So a lot of you guys have been asking about how things are going in the house. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, strange things have been happening. Someone was physically running down the stairs at me. And that kind of stuff happens all the time now. And the hell? Time as utterly terrifying. It is just one of those things. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I don't know really what else to do about it. So what I've done is I captured.
Shaken, he quickly abandoned the kitchen and relocated to his living room, though he kept the stream going. It wasn't long before things escalated even further. See for yourself what his camera captured.
So just to show you guys that there's literally nothing here. Sorry, my tripod getting caught and everything. Literally nothing here. Look, see? Absolutely nothing. Oh, sorry, it's just my tripod wire dangling on the floor there. Just to show you as well. Oh, this is crazy. Right. Wait a minute. That wasn't... For God's sake, that wasn't even on before. Right,
Without warning, the kitchen door erupted into violent, frantic shaking in a way that made everyone watching deeply uneasy. He rushed over to check it out, but there was absolutely nothing there. Then, roughly an hour later, as he sat in the living room walking his viewers through everything that had been happening, the night had one more shock in store.
I've never tried to call out before. Apparently it's a ghosty. Again, I'm not saying I believe in that stuff. I really don't. I really don't. Can you make anything move? Now, from the videos that I've seen online about like white shit flying on the camera a lot, that was my air freshener going off automatically. 8 minutes. Bargain. Nah, mate. Nah. Nope. I am fucking moving out. I don't know what this is. I don't care what this is. Nope. Just showing you again, ladies and gentlemen, there is nobody else here. Nope. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just like a breeze, wind, but
The fact that all of this unfolded in real time in front of a live audience has led a lot of people to believe this footage is completely genuine. The man himself is now firmly convinced that something supernatural is sharing his home with him. So, what's your take? All the signs pointed to a perfectly routine evening stroll. A few friends were making their way down a residential street on what appeared to be an uneventful night, when something near one particular house stopped them dead in their tracks. Whatever was waiting on that porch was so bizarre and difficult to process that, to this day, not one of them has managed to come up with an explanation for what they saw.
What the hell?
Hey, what is that? Look, it's just moving.
What am I looking at?
At first glance, the porch captured in the footage looks completely unremarkable. But within moments, it becomes obvious that something isn't right. A dark, shadowy mist hangs in the air, and it isn't just sitting there. It drifts and shifts, changing direction in a way that feels deeply wrong, almost as though it's being guided by some kind of intent. The group stands watching in stunned silence, caught somewhere between fascination and dread. Then, just when you think it can't get any stranger, things take an even more disturbing turn. The mist begins to thicken and pull together, forming shapes that loosely suggest a human figure, as though something is attempting to materialize through the haze. The clip doesn't offer any clear-cut answers, but whatever is visible on that porch resists every rational explanation. Some argue it could be a staged or manufactured effect, while others are convinced they're looking at something far more sinister, a threatening presence attached to that specific house. Either way, the footage leaves a lasting chill and stands as one of the most deeply unsettling clips ever shared on the internet. A TikTok creator going by Paranormal with Liv has been sending shivers through the platform with a string of deeply unsettling videos. The earliest upload, from May 2025, captures Liv simply winding down in bed for the night. That piece doesn't last long though, because she soon picks up on scratching sounds drifting in from the room directly across the hall. Then everything shifts. What starts as faint, almost dismissible scratching suddenly becomes something far harder to ignore, as the string lights hanging in her room get ripped down by what can only be described as an unseen presence. The intensity of that moment is matched only by Liv's reaction, and honestly, the terror on her face is completely understandable. Most of us would lose it in that situation. Moving into the second clip, Liv and her boyfriend are just getting back home after a DoorDash run when something stops them cold as they pull into their parking space. Glancing up toward their window, the two of them notice what appears to be a shadowy, hooded shape peering down at them, only for it to disappear almost the instant they register it. By the time the third video rolls around, both Liv and her boyfriend are clearly rattled, practically dreading the idea of stepping back inside their own apartment. But when they finally push through the door, what's waiting for them is genuinely baffling.
Don't mind our house, but the blanket is on the floor. You guys, if you guys saw my last video, it was hung up right there. What the?
The tack in a pile. Like, I could see them, like, just falling off the wall, but, like, I had
how are they, like, all...
There on the floor lies a blanket, and arranged on top of it is a tidy little cluster of thumbtacks. No sign of a struggle, no obvious explanation. Just one more deeply strange piece added to an already unsettling puzzle. Plenty of viewers have floated the idea that this could all be an elaborate setup, but there's a quality to Liv's responses and the overall flow of the footage that doesn't feel manufactured or played up. If anything, the unpolished nature of it all lends the whole thing more credibility. Whether you chalk this up to a genuine haunting, an impressively committed prank, or something that defies easy categorization, this series hits on something deeply instinctive, that fear of being watched, and the creeping dread of no longer feeling safe in your own space. Drop your thoughts below. Are we looking at real paranormal activity here, or just a very convincing piece of fiction?